Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit speechless. I'm not quite sure how to say this, but Alien Earth Episode 5 was pretty good. In fact, it was easily the best episode of the season, and it's sadly probably going to stay that way because then we'll go back to the Neverland Ranch. But for now, we have an episode that's self-contained, taking us back onto that ship, the USCSS Maganaut. It rolls right off the tongue. I am going to break down this episode in a spoiler recap. If you find yourself enjoying the commentary, feel free to sub to the show. Adam does movies. I'm Adam. I do the movies. Sometimes I do shows as well, as you're clearly seeing on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. I would appreciate it. But let's talk about Alien Earth. Episode 5, In Space, No One... ... That's the title. They didn't finish it because we all know it's No One Can Hear You Scream. Let's begin. We start out 17 days from Earth. We're back with the crew from the first episode that all were killed at the hands of different aliens on the ship. Now we get to find out exactly what went wrong and how it went wrong. One of the dipshit crew members informs Morrow that the captain's dead and that the ship is kaput. There's aliens running amok, everything's chaotic, it's pandemonium. But he says all this with a real pep in his step. It's really odd. I hate this guy. Let's keep going. We're now in a room with 2 men, 2 face huggers, and a bunch of crew just casually standing around chatting, right next to these aliens they know virtually nothing about. Like they're standing around the water cooler chatting about the recent episode of Game of Thrones. What is going on? Why are these people so incompetent and have no real regard for safety protocol? Anyway, they inform a very schlubby-looking Morrow that the captain died because they tried to extract the alien by cutting the tail, and that acid blood just went right through the guy's neck. We laugh about these things here. Now, even though we have established there are no birds on this ship, Morrow suspects foul play. Subscribe for terrible puns. Just takes a second, it's free of charge. There was a random explosion, aliens have escaped. There's clearly a saboteur amongst us. Morrow's also not thrilled that Budget Eva Mendes has been boning one of the crew members. It's really frowned upon by corporate. Frankly, it's not a good look, and her whole position has been compromised. He wants her to sound the alarms, alert everyone, wake up the crew. We gotta find these aliens and safely secure them again. It's all about securing the cargo. Meanwhile, good old Tang is caressing one of the cryopods containing a woman in her underwear. I have no idea what this is all about, but unfortunately now it's the only way I can achieve climax. Back with M-Dog, currently sitting in one of those old lady chairs they use to go upstairs because they're too old and frail to walk up them. He has it to just go between 3 or 4 monitors. It feels like a very dumb use of money. Apparently they spared no expense on this ship. He couldn't put on a couple wheels to a regular chair and roll his fat ass back and forth. Come on! In one of the monitors, he spies with his little eye the saboteur. While this is happening, Nativa Mendez is saying goodbye to her boyfriend with the face hugger attached to his face like he's eating it out. She pours one out for him by pouring what I imagine is paprika on top of his cryo tube. She then enters the computer room and has a chat with Mother about their current situation. It's not good. Mother doesn't care. Mendez asks if they can destroy some of the alien specimens if it comes at the detriment of her crew. What a dumb bitch. Mother's like, no. You die, not the creatures, all right? Your life is worth nothing. Theirs is worth everything. Morrow, now incredibly exhausted for what had to have been an hour of investigation, takes a much-needed load off by looking through some scrapbook memories. I know if I was on a ship careening towards Earth with a saboteur on board and some random aliens running around, I would definitely take a break and look at photos. One of them in particular catches his fancy, and that's a photo of his daughter. The memories bring him to tears. Beta! Houston, we have a problem. The embryo that resided inside the dead body of the guy in the cryotube has exploded forth, chest bursting out and into the wild. That's not going to be good for business. That's not going to be good for anyone. Ah, shit! Eyeball Squid is back, baby! Here's another one. Here's another one. Dr. Chibozo is checking on all the specimens, and she's doing a terrible job of it. The little bug thing notices that she forgot to put the top back on his little tube cage, and so he goes up there, slides the canister butthole opening open, crawls up it, and notices that she has left her water bottle unattended and open. These people are incredibly incompetent. It scampers up the bottle and spikes her punch. It then attempts to hide under a couple slices of bread. The first half of this plan was really well thought out. The second half, not so much. This bug can't improvise worth shit. One of the other crew members comes in, notices the little tykes out of his cage, grabs it, plops it back down. They then take the specimen canisters, put them high up on a shelf where it's possible they could fall and break. Smart. It's just smart having them contained so well. And that's exactly what happens. Squidward stretches out the old tentacles and starts propelling itself into the top of the canister like he's in a WWF match. The glass falls to the ground, shatters on impact, and Squidward is free at last. Conference meeting. Mendez, who's now in charge, rallies the crew to talk about protocol. Amongst them are two idiot mechanics, looking like the idiot comic relief from Pirates of the Caribbean. They won't stop talking. One of them starts choking on his own stupidity, swipes the doc's spiked jizz water, takes a swig, and I'm sure the only outcome is going to be death for this asshole. But maybe he got just the right amount that he'll get Spider-Man abilities. I guess we'll find out. While all the commotion is going down, Tang's just taking it all in as he smokes a cigarette in the gayest way possible. Morrow starts conducting his investigation process, trying to figure out who the saboteur is, and so naturally he starts with Raheem. Because racist! Sure love to know where that conversation went, but Hulu decided to fade to black for 5 seconds, as it often does, because I'm watching on an app where I don't pay for commercials, so obviously have me wait for the fade to black commercial inserts to go on, because it just makes sense! Now, in an obligatory room with slow-moving chains, we see Beavis and Butthead attempting to fix whatever's going on. And since we are in a room like this, something bad has to happen, and yep, he starts puking up blood. I don't know his name, but he's gonna be dead soon anyways, it doesn't matter. Back in the specimen room, the ladies realize Squidward has escaped. As this is happening, Morrow has set his sights squarely on Tang. He tells Morrow in the smuggest way possible, listen, just because the computer says there's someone in the cryotube doesn't mean someone's in the cryotube. Back to the monitors we go! Ladies and gentlemen, we have the biggest reveal of the episode. Morrow has stumbled upon a recording between the ship's engineer, Petrovich, and one boy Cavalier. They concoct a plan where Petrovich will trick the system into thinking he's still in cryosleep while he goes around causing mischief. He releases the facehuggers. He causes an explosion, forcing the ship to crash into a building on Earth, where Boy Cavalier will release his baby bots to retrieve the specimens, becoming super duper wealthy or something, and in exchange, Petrovich can get himself a brand new synthetic body. It was almost too easy. Except for the fact that Petrovich died. But he's not dead yet, and Morrow is in pursuit. That dude from earlier that drank the worm juice, he didn't turn into Spider-Man. He got ticks inside of his belly. So the doctor and another crewmate throw his ass onto a table, and they rip him open, seeing the giant bugs inside. It's a good thing neither of these morons has any sort of protective gear on at all. No hazmat suit, not even a fucking mask. Because, when you're dealing with chemical warfare, when you're dealing with mysterious creatures in space, the best, most logical thing you can do is nothing to protect yourself. And wouldn't you know it, those bug invaders in his body, they aren't too thrilled with being freed, and they burst into a mist of poison, killing the three of them inside the room. Tang's not having a good time either. He's just sitting in a chair, minding his own business, when he looks up and peekaboo, he sees the Xenomorph. First time reveal in the episode, and that's gonna be the last time we see Tang. Morrow's pissed with how things are operating right now. He is now taking command of this operation. Sorry, Budget Eva Mendes. Hey, you had a good 49-minute run though. Whilst running down a random hallway, Petrovich enters the chat, opening fire on Morrow and that dumb young guy from the beginning that was kind of like thrilled that the captain died. Well, now he's gonna die. He gets shot in the side. Morrow pulls him around a corner, lays him down on the ground, but apparently that's at the perfect level for Petrovich to shoot the dude in the fucking head. Nothing of value was lost. Moro, not hesitating for a second, gets up, Parker posies around the corner towards the steam. Through the mist, through the woods, through the darkness of the shadows. I don't remember the lyrics, but I like that Gaston song from Beauty and the Beast. Moro pulls a sneak attack on old Petrie, sticking him from behind. And no, that's not a euphemism. He knifes the shit out of him in the back. Look out, Budget Eva Mendes! A guy in a xenomorph suit just plopped down behind you! He is, thankfully, a forgiving killing machine. He gives her a little head start to run away. Yeah, that's probably long enough. She goes through a couple corridors and backs into a room with, Schmiel, I think his name is. I'm calling him Schmiel. He looks a little off. Probably because he's suffering from an intense case of pink eye. No, it's actually Squidward in one of his sockets. He's taking control of the guy, and he attacks Eva Mendes. But thankfully, the xenomorph eventually makes its way into the room, and we have a 1v1 showdown. Mendes hides in a corner. Moro pops out of a grate like he's in a Star Wars movie, and he locks himself in the computer room with Mother. And this is going to bring us up to speed with episode 1. How these people all died. Yeah, the xenomorph killed Budget Eva Mendes, if you don't remember, because Moro wouldn't let her into the room. We also do thankfully get a reminder of that fantastically stupid moment where the xenomorph walks by the glass window, stops mid-walk, and then backs up like a truck. Beep, beep, beep. Like he's Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. Say, Ripley, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Ripley? You got hit by, you got struck by a smooth xenomorph. Jamon! It appears Moro was the sole survivor, but they did not show Teng die, I don't believe. Possible? He's still there somewhere. He is a synthetic. We know they're built to last. But for now, we only see Moro, and we know his mission. He is to retrieve the alien specimens, and more importantly, to stop Boy Cavalier, the douchebag that was behind all of this. We end the episode, as we always do, with a random, completely out-of-place rock song. This time one by Smashing Pumpkins. And you know what kills me to no end is I love all of the songs they've played at the ends of these episodes. They're all fantastic. And so it breaks me that they are wasted in the last 5 seconds of the episode before the credits hit every time. What is happening? This was, in fact, easily the best episode of the show. The only one that I had any sort of enjoyment watching. It had some dumb, silly stuff, but for the most part, it worked really well. I still didn't get like a ton of atmosphere. There was a great shot where the camera slowly pushes into that spiked water, and it kept going back to it, and you see those little amoeba things squiggling around. That was great. That had some eeriness to it. So there's some of it there, but for the most part, this just does not hit very hard. But there you have it, my recap breakdown for episode 5 in space. No one ellipses. Quick aside for those wondering what happened to my set. I tore it down over the weekend, and I decided in my infinite wisdom to go to a green screen version. I posted it on my community tab. People were pissed at me, said it was disgusting. They walked up to me on the streets, tears in their eyes, as they often do, and said, "Sir, what the hell were you thinking?" And so I kind of reverted, but I gave away some of my shelving to my daughter, and I'm not going to take it back. I got rid of the green screen. My set's a little different. Nobody wins at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. Leave a comment below. Again, think of subbing to the show Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I would really appreciate it, and hopefully I see you next time. Oh! If you appreciate my content, I am a one-man band. This is a ton of work, and you want a way to give back. Head on over to patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. There's tons of exclusive perks over there. Look at these awesome supporters so far. There's some of the best people on this planet, and you could be one of them. You could be right there alongside, and I would appreciate it.